How's it hanging, YouTube? Peter here, your Ginger Jody Geek. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of This Is My. So this is the series where myself and a fellow collector go through some hard-hitting questions and also look at some items from their personal collection. So tonight, I'm very pleased to say I'm joined by none other than the attention-seeking geek. Ben, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Obviously, guys, I was meant to be the first episode.
Naturally.
But I was having one of my annual YouTube, I say annual, monthly YouTube meltdowns. Yeah. So here I am, episode, what is this, 25?
125, yeah. No, this is episode number 5, I think. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I've been really enjoying all the other discussions you've had. So I'm interested to sort of see if there's any questions I don't know about yet.
Well, so there's a section at the end there where the great general public ask you a few questions, and as ever, we've got a few interesting ones, so they might put you on your toes a little bit. Before we start off, just want to quickly mention a couple of things that we've got coming up. So obviously tonight's all about you, Ben. I know that'll be a challenge. I know you're not used to talking about yourself.
I'm an incredibly introvert, modest individual, so
just push through. Just push through. You'll be all right. All right. And so tonight we've got that. Monday night we've got Let's Talk Toys, where we'll be talking all things action figures, video games. So please do join for that. Excuse me. Next Monday, I'm looking forward to this one. We've got our spotlight show, and this time it's going to be a spotlight on Transformers. So we'll be looking at the history of the Transformers. We'll be looking at some of their media appearances. So looking at the movies and the cartoons, looking at what merchandise is out there, and recommending some reads. So no doubt we'll be touching on the up-and-coming Transformers series from Skybound, which looks extremely exciting. And then, as usual, just a big shout out to the usual UK live stream gang. So we've got This Week Metropolis on a Tuesday. They had an incredibly interesting guy on this Tuesday. I can't remember his name, but he was a stunt guy. I don't know if you saw
it. I did watch that one. Don't watch everyone, but I watched that one.
It was
really
very
interesting.
Nerd Herd on Wednesday. Can't remember what book they're looking at this week, but it's sequels month. So, it's Once and Future. So that'll be a good one. I like that series. Got Killer Comic Show on Thursday with all their usual great stuff and their character spotlights. And then Grey Man on a Saturday. I should say also Grey Man does lots of live streams during the week now as well. Geekly Hangouts. Also not on the slide, but coming up, I believe on Tuesday will be GP Venom's comic book review show. What are we reviewing? Deceased. So we're reviewing Deceased this time. So that should be an interesting show. Great series. One of my favorites.
Zombies and shit.
Zombies and shit. Yeah. And you like it, Ben, because Superman dies. Oh, spoilers. Superman dies. So
it's a good start to a story if you get.
I know you're a massive Superman fan. So yeah, he'll probably be appearing tonight on your favorite character. Yeah. I would have thought so.
Yeah, can't wait.
Just quickly jump into the chat, see who we've got. We've got good old StreamYard. Thank you for joining StreamYard. We've got Jack, as ever. Thank you very much for joining, bud. Always appreciate seeing you. And we've got Andy. How juicy can the questions be? Well, we've got a few interesting ones. Fuzzy, annual, seasonal dynamics.
He knows me well.
Yeah. Andy's just saying hello to Fuzzy. We've got a bit of banter going backwards and forwards.
Just the two of them, because it's me.
Just the two, yeah. They'll have a bit of conversation.
I'll bring in the crowd. But yeah. Get ready to hit a new record for lowest
negative viewers. Yeah.
Channel.
Okay, mate. Let's make a start. And we'll start off as ever with a little bit about your backstory. So tell us a little bit about your collecting journey. We've got a few slides that you've sent us, so just tell us when you want us to shift onto those. But just let everyone know a little bit about you.
Yes, so my kind of YouTube journey started as a bit of a joke, really. So it started as a spoof love blog following my appearance on an ITV dating show that some people hopefully haven't heard of it, but if they have, Take Me Out is that show. So luckily I met my now beautiful wife there in the middle, Gracie, as she was on the show. And yeah, now mother of my beautiful little girl as well. So,
I mean, I have to ask you, Ben. I have to ask
mhm.
you. Obviously, it was love at first sight, and she picked you straight away there and then on the spot. Is that right?
That's me pointing at her there. No, you're wrong. She turned her light off. She did not want a slice of this cheesecake at the time. Not sure she does now. But yeah, so I went on a date with lucky Ashley, who was the only girl with a light left on
Out
because
of
she
how
forgot
many?
to turn it off. 30. So good ratio.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's
She said I was so distracted by your Elvis, dancing
yeah.
and things like that I forgot to
Yeah.
turn it off. I didn't realise that I was to let
And I
it on.
mean, I don't know much about dating, as you can probably tell. You thought it would be a good idea to tell the crowd about your love of superheroes and cosplay. Is that right?
Look, I never hide anything about myself. I'm an open book, probably too open at times. But I actually, the going on the show was very much a kind of joke gone too far in itself anyway. So I was playing a very kind of heightened version of myself, like what I chose to kind of wear and like the way I sort of played up to the shtick in Shut Your Face. It
I mean, I've watched
it
it,
was a
Ben, and it's
joke.
just you. It's just you,
No,
mate.
it was that everyone was in on the joke. So yeah, and but like the joke did stop when it was like halfway through, and like there were still some girls with their lights left on,
Yeah.
and they were like, these women are like gorgeous, and I was like, I could actually get a date here because I was planning to like have a blackout and then cry to try and get in the papers. That was my plan.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, whatever happened, blah blah blah. I went on a date, all this stuff. 5 years later, Grace and I sort of got together, and the rest is history. But that spawned this idea to do a kind of jokey love blog because I was on Twitter at the time, and I think people really kind of bought into the fact that I was this like fucking virgin loser. I'm one of
I
those things. I was
can't
one of
imagine
those
why.
things at the time, just one. And yeah, like so I thought I'd play into that. So I sort of did this. It was kind of like a love vlog, but then I would kind of ask people to like be in on the joke, like,
Yeah.
and I would explain what the sketch is, and so I would do things where like I'd go up to a girl and they'd be like grossed out and whatever, and I got everyone in on it. And even when we went to do Take Me Out the reunion with old Marky Wright of Anyways Essex fame,
Wow.
yeah, which is actually the night I first met Grace in person, and we really like our banter and everything, like we really hit it
Yeah.
off, which was, we never realized what would happen down the line. But yeah, like and I got everyone to kind of do all these sketches and things like that, and then the YouTube sort of evolved a bit. So on this slide here, it's kind of I've kind of gone over like the footnotes of my kind of YouTube evolution. So the beginning there, that's my sort of jokey love vlog.
Right.
And then it kind of, my friend Johnny Fisher, who I believe is Pillskin on Instagram. He does some amazing miniature toy photography, like incredible stuff. He's annoyingly talented and very arrogant about it. But yeah, he did media and stuff, so he had a really sharp, nice camera, knew how to do audio, knew how to do editing, and we basically, and I lived with him, worked with him, we pretty much spent every day together. So we collaborated, and that's where the vlog kind of turned into more of a kind of geeky, so we'd do like interviews at Comic Cons and stuff, but like awkward kind of interviews, and we'd do sketches. So I was doing like public pranks and like stupid stuff,
Are those videos still on? Because I've seen a lot of those, but they're not there anymore. Have you removed
No,
them?
they are there. Yeah.
Okay.
There's one or two that I've hidden because some jokes have not aged well.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not the only one, okay?
Madam
You know,
Tussauds, is that one still there?
no, that's hidden because I don't think HR would approve of
Yeah.
the jokes in that. But I'm actually most proud of that in terms of comedy.
Yeah.
Like I
It's
think
very
it's
good.
one of my
Yeah.
funniest videos, but you'll never see it, anyone. But yeah, so and I'm really, really proud. Like I'm probably most proud of that era on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just because the quality and what Johnny used to do was just amazing, and it like honestly at that time I really felt like, fuck man, we should be catching more wind here. Like, and
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
very lazy, you know, in terms of like promotion, and we didn't really know how to kind of promote it. There wasn't like communities per se, so I like knew another idiot comedy YouTuber, and that was about it, you know. So there wasn't really, we probably could have done more collaboration and reached out to people and stuff like that. We didn't, so it ultimately didn't really catch wind. Still hasn't. So I stopped for a long time. You know, me and Johnny, I left London. You know, me and Johnny sort of fell out of touch for quite a long time, and yeah, you know, life just happens, doesn't it? And you know, I then sort of met Grace, and sort of, you know, life evolved, and then COVID happened, and we're all very bored.
Yeah.
I was sort of on the crux of a nervous breakdown anyway, because I was just about to have a baby as well during the pandemic. So just to kind of distract myself, I guess, and I guess I kind of just had that creative itch a little bit again. It'd been like it'd been a good sort of few years since I've done like stand-up comedy, and I haven't acted in so many years and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just really wanted to do something sort of creative. So I wrote these like COVID kind of sketches, I guess. So I think there's about 4 or 5 videos that I did during that kind of that little revamp time. So that was fun. And then I kind of evolved it into more of a generic, because, you know, the problem is with you know, comedy and stuff like that is you can hit that wall pretty quickly, to be fair. And once
Yeah.
you've told a joke twice, 3 times, it starts to not be funny anymore. So yeah, like a couple of people were like, oh, just be you know, talk about your figures, talk about comic books, like you know, just like be a geek, and don't make it a joke anymore. Do you know what I mean? So that was kind of the final stage, really, of becoming. I mean, I was straight out of Crampton for a while, but you know, becoming the attention-seeking geek, I guess, where I will do figure reviews, sort of random, you know, comic book, movie theories, and kind of stuff like that. And then my first live show was the Red Nose Day fundraising show. Which I'm really proud of. We raised a lot of money doing that, so that was fantastic.
How long ago was that then? Was that over 2 years or so ago? Because
Yeah, it was
I must
before
have
I knew
just come on the
you, but
scene. Yeah, I don't think I remember seeing that one.
about 3 years ago,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you know, I was on Killer Comics for a long time, and then sort of I've been doing my own sort of live shows, random ones, and then of course It's Not That Bad is probably the one I've done most of, and here we are now, where I've kind of yeah, just as I'm sure a few content creators feel, you know, you kind of get to the point sometimes where it all feels a bit too much, you get a bit overwhelmed. I struggle massively with kind of over analysis of social circles, and I'm not patient anymore at all, and I'm not a very tolerant person, which is awful. I need to work on it, but it's also like I sort of, you know, if I'm not enjoying stuff, like I have to kind of be a bit selfish and just say no, I'm not going to do it. So yeah, I've had a kind of month fully away from like social media and streaming and everything, but I'm back, and I'm going to be doing a few streams with yourself, Peter, because obviously you're my bestie, and you know, I, I'm going to do a collection tour, I think, soon, and I might come back around Halloween time.
Yeah.
And get a bit spooky for maybe a month or so before Halloween and do a kind of run up. I know that Bucky, who I sort of streamed with recently, wants to kind of collaborate on some horror stuff.
Yeah.
And I know you and James love your horror as well. So yeah, stay tuned, because
Good stuff.
my personality is highly erratic and content could come at any time.
Well, I'm sure I speak for everybody, Ben. We'll say we're pleased to see you back, but we're glad you took the time you needed. We've got Gray. Thank you very much for joining, bud. Okay, Ben. So I think we've got some other slides now of your collection. So do you want to just talk us through? Well, this for a start. This is more. I mean, this is mental. This is just freaking mental. So tell a little bit about your cosplay journey.
Peter, it's so fucking hot.
I know. I was considering doing the stream naked. I wasn't sure if the internet could cope with that, but I mean, we've done it blue naked before, but I haven't done it.
I've got this bulb on me, and it honestly feels like flames on my face right now. Right, sorry. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of talk about this because I think it very much is a collection, and it's kind of I guess it's been a way of me expressing myself and my love and my creativity for, gosh, I mean, it probably started at university. With university, like once a week at least, you'd have a costume theme night out, and I joined the don't laugh, the athletics team.
Sorry, yeah.
Just to be part of like a team, because every Wednesday you'd have like a uni night where all the teams would have their own themes and everyone would dress up and have sex with each other and stuff. It was wild. But I always took the theme too far. I spent too much money, and I would like properly go for it. I really commit. It wouldn't just be a sexy pair of like cat ears and a tail or whatever. I would like come as a furry or something. So it started from there, and then just went to my first Comic-Con when I think I was in my second year of uni, and the rest is history from there, because that's kind of been my main passion, is cosplay, and these are just a few of my different personalities.
All of those are superb, but some of them are absolutely outstanding. Absolutely love them. Absolutely.
Thanks, mate. What's your favorite one?
Well, I was looking, and I don't, because I like the Dr. Robotnik. That's one of my favorites.
Okay.
I have to say, I love the Tash. I love the Tash in it. But you did look a very good Thor, I have to say.
Yeah.
The Willy Wonka.
You know how weird a night that was, because I've told you offline as well. So.
Yeah, but no, very, very cool. And you actually got me into cosplay a little bit, so I kind of dipped my toe in it because of you a little while ago. So yeah, it is. I have to say, it's one of the most. I mean, you're an old hand at it now, but I found it very nerve-wracking the first time I did it. But it's like that immediate gratification when people are coming up to you and asking you to have your photo taken with them was bizarre. I found that a really strange experience, but for someone with a bit of an ego, it was an absolute pleasure.
What are you saying, Peter?
Well, I can't imagine why you.
There. Unbelievable. I think you answered it.
So I'm not going to ask you what your favorite is, because I think later on we've got someone asking one of those questions. Okay. So you might want to think a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. Okay, Ben. We'll you've got another image here of some of your collection. Is that I want to come onto later on, or do you want to go straight into that now? We should ask some questions.
Yeah, I'm your willing passenger. So.
Oh, nice. We'll start with this one. So, your favorite hero. Tell us a little bit about your favorite. It hasn't got to be a superhero. I know it is because I've seen the slide. But tell about your favorite Marvel superhero.
Yeah, so it's a Marvel superhero, because why would it not be? And it's an X-Man, because why would it not be? It was a really hard question to answer, to be honest, because I just feel so passionately about so many characters, like, and it's one of the things where, like, if you ask me on a Tuesday, I might answer differently to how I would on a Friday, and Colossus is kind of an interesting one, because I'm usually drawn to characters with like a villainous past, and they might kind of turn good, you know, or characters that have quite a kind of complex nature in that sense, or I like characters that are quite kind of punky and rebellious and kind of like, you know, fuck the state and stuff. Like, you know, I'm often drawn to characters like that. But Colossus is the complete opposite. Like if anything, Colossus should be like one of your favorite characters because he's kind of the definition of a Boy Scout. You know, you know, you love your Superman, you love your Captain America, you know, the kind of the real true of heart and true of action type individuals. And I think what is so interesting about Colossus is, you know, on paper, he's this giant, monstrous, brute force, brute strength, pure steel skin, you know, from Russia. And like, you know, that sounds like a villain, right? You know, but it's not. He is one of the most kind of caring, soft-natured. You know, it's almost like he only uses violence because he's kind of, you know, forced to, or as a means of defense. He's an incredible kind of big brother. He's an artist, you know, and I just love how that kind of differs with how he looks, and that's often the case in X-Men, and that's what I love about characters like Nightcrawler. You know, he looks like this demon from hell, and yet he's this really kind of tender, you know, man who's got faith and everything like that. So, but yeah, like I always loved the muscle in a team. I think as a kid, like I you know, I love my Panthro. Whoever the kind of big dude is in the team, I tend to like them, which I probably shouldn't say out loud. But
I mean, it explains a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, if you see me at some kind of like bodybuilding contest, just rubbing people. Oh, I'll apply the.
I'll oil you up. Don't worry about that.
But yeah, I just really love him, and I think I just love the, you know, the kind of different takes on him by artists like Jim Lee. I think is probably my favorite kind of you know, take on him, and yeah, just a really cool character and part of my favorite era of the X-Men with the Uncanny X-Men.
It's really interesting the point you're making, Ben, because when I think of the characters that I know you like, you're right. Colossus doesn't fit that mold that I expect of you, because you like your kind of your arch hero kind of things and stuff. But this character as well, for me, there's something about the aesthetic of him. That costume, for me, the thigh-high boots, the red, the gold, against the strike and silver, he's a sexy thing. Do you know what I mean? He looks impressive. Do you know what I mean?
Now you've described them as thigh-high boots. I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that. I can't unsee it now. Yeah, like, and it's like, it's funny, like, yeah, and maybe it's the duality of my personality, because I like Captain America, you know, and I think they, like, people like Cap and Colossus and stuff kind of represent everything that I struggle to be, I think, right. and everything that I kind of want to be sometimes, but the, you know, the gobshite in me or whatever it may be tends to kind of come out sometimes without thinking. And, you know, I look at these guys who are kind of composed and kind, and, you know, and I wish I could be more like that sometimes. So I think that's maybe where it stems from as well. But also, he's just a big lump of metal, and he can throw Wolverine and do the fastball special, and, you know, he's just so cool. And yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he is very cool. A couple of people are agreeing. Well, Violent Shame, I like your sister. Yeah, I love Illyana. She's one of my favorite characters. I know Ben's a big fan as well. Starring in a book, I can't remember what the title of the comic was now.
Fall of X is Dawn of X. Dawn.
Yeah, but looks very, very cool. Pat Bersing, a great choice. Colossus is screaming for a John Cena reboot. Yeah, could you imagine?
I don't know. I can't see John Cena doing the Russian accent.
I mean, Fuzzy, you raise an interesting point. Ben, what's your best Russian impression? Give us a Colossus. Come on. See if you could master the rule.
Give me something to say. I can't, like...
God.
Good morning, good morning, Ilyana. It's time you do these dishes.
That's not bad.
They're not going to do themselves.
I mean, it's a little Borat. I'm going to say it's a little Borat.
Yes, my name is Colossus. I'm shiny. I like as well. I just want to mention as well, like the constant like sacrifices. Like if you look at Colossus's history with the legacy virus and everything like that, and I love the sort of that he snapped a bit recently with the Phoenix 5 and the whole Colossus story and joining Cable and the X-Force and stuff like that. So I love, just all these characters just have such a beautiful tapestry of kind of.
And I think that's the thing. They're not just one dimensional. They have got, issues. And has he still got a brother? Is his brother dead? Was it Mikhail, his brother, or something?
It's coming back, I think.
Is he?
They're setting that up. Yeah.
Tremendous character. Great pick, Ben. Let's have a little look at some of these things in your collection. So talk through some of this.
Yeah. So I just kind of gave a real overview because I want people to watch my videos, so go and check out all my reviews. And also, I am cautious that I do want to do this collection tour soon, so I'm going to kind of give everyone a proper detailed look at everything. But so the wall kind of in front of me is this, and it's a fairly new idea. It's something I've only sort of started to build up in the last couple of weeks. But I just was like, I love X-Men, and I've got this beautiful kind of Jim Lee X-Men 1, horizontal kind of print, and I just wanted to build on that. So I've kind of put my Stan Lee signature above it, which is dead random. It's literally, it was just a page from like one of those big kind of history of Marvel books, and I just cut out. It's the first page from X-Men 1, but it's so nice. And big and clear, and it's such a unique sort of image to have Stan's signature on.
Very nice.
So I like that, and then I've kind of put the recent sort of Regenesis era of Uncanny X-Men, and the obviously giant size at the bottom, and then I've got my Xavier Diamond Select Cerebro helmet. So that's in a box on the wall, and then below that I've got a shelf ready to go with the Hasbro Magneto helmet. So that's my kind of X-Men wall.
That Jim Lee X print is stunning, obviously from the cover of X-Men 1. But I don't know if you've seen that Alex Ross is kind of doing his version of the exact same cover in some of the recent X books, but he's selling the lithograph. So you can get the lithograph, but it's about $300, I think, signed by him. But I'm sorely tempted, I have to say.
Oh, if it's signed by him, I guess. Yeah. I mean, this is... It's amazing, really. It's my only numbered piece. What is it? It's 231 of 300. So I guess that's quite a cool thing that there's only 300 of them. But you could easily fall down that rabbit hole of prints and stuff. I
haven't got the wall space for them, but that's the issue.
No, I've got so many posters and stuff that I picked up over the years that just sit in the box. Yeah, it's a shame.
Are you wanting to come back to these other images? I don't know if you've got things to show, Ben, or are you going to come back to these images in between questions?
We'll come back. We can come back to the images, because I've got all my shit in museum gel, so I'll just talk about it.
So we'll go to our next question then, which is a nice, easy one, because I know we talk a lot about movies. I think we're both kind of movie buffs. We enjoy going to I was going to say enjoy.
I don't enjoy going anymore.
Yeah, I don't enjoy going to the cinema either. Too many children. Sorry, well, by lunchtime, Black Series Star Wars. I don't know if have you got Black Series Star Wars?
The figures or the helmets? Yeah. I'm not. I used to. I used to have both.
We've got Chris. Nice to see you, Chris. Thanks for joining, bud. Okay, favorite film. So Ben, I know you very well. I know what your favorite movie is, but just to let the guys at home know, it's obviously this. So I know you. No.
Iconic, mate. Look at that.
Yeah, bullshit. It's this, which is one of my favorite movies as well. So tell me about this.
Yeah, it's such a hard question as someone asking your favorite film, because for me, Star Wars, it's almost like a way of life, not like an individual film for me. I know that sounds sad, but that is my life. And also with Marvel, it's kind of the same. It's I probably could have put your X-Men 2, your Winter Soldier or whatever, but it's almost like those are like ways of life. It's just like a constant thing. So yeah, I wanted to kind of pick something separate to the main franchises. So yeah, Shaun of the Dead. This film was introduced to me by my dad, and we share like a real similar sort of taste in comedy, that kind of awkward British comedy. Like he introduced me to The Office and Ricky Gervais, and like the influence Ricky Gervais has had on me, just like as a person, like with my humor and everything, like is massive, really. And Shaun of the Dead's kind of up there in the same vein. Like I just love. One of my favorite things is like something that's so fantastical and like strange or outrageous mixed with the mundane. Like and Shaun of the Dead is just that perfect kind of like juxtaposing like the horror of a zombie film that is usually done in a certain way, by Hollywood, but done in this kind of British, run of the mill sort of neighborhood. I just think like it's just perfect. Like it's just every single joke like hits, and
so this
the
is your
zombie
favorite
stuff's so good as well. Like
so this is your favorite of the Ice Cream trilogy as well, and I presume.
Yeah, like it's obviously the one that started it. I do love Hot Fuzz, and obviously I was lucky enough to be an extra in that, so I kind of have like a real personal connection to that film. But I think Shaun of the Dead will always win out, just because I think that's the genre I probably like the most out of the three is the horror, So and the characters like Simon Pegg's, like Nicholas Angel's not a likable character, right? And Gary King is not a really likable character. So Shaun of the Dead's kind of the one that like you really like Shaun. Like Shaun is like the perfect hero. Like he's the perfect one that you sort of relate to. Obviously he's imperfect. He forgets to book the table and all that stuff. But like he's the most relatable out of all the three leads, I think.
Yeah. So pushing you a bit further then. Favorite scene in this movie, and I'm going to go first, and you can't go for the same one as me.
I know you're going to pick the one.
Well, I might not. So my favorite scene is where I don't know if it's actually this bit, where the crossover with the alternate version of the same movie. Yeah,
right.
I love that bit. Love it. So, what's your favorite bit?
And just like a brilliant showcase of British comedy talent. Like it's just fantastic. It's got to be the "Don't Stop Me Now" sequence. It's just an amazing kind of crescendo for the whole film as well. And again, it's just like it kind of perfectly sums up the film, because it doesn't the music doesn't match up with what's happening, and that is the whole film in itself. And like for me, like Edgar Wright is I just think he's an absolute genius, and he's really kind of carved out this style for himself that I just think is so. It's so exciting to watch an Edgar Wright film. You never have a moment to kind of go, oh, this is dragging a bit, or I'm getting a bit bored. Like everything's kind of quick and sharp and witty, and like he can do no wrong. And he's moved me. He moved me, Peter. He said, "Can you sit there?" That's so technically I've been directed by Edgar Wright.
Been directed by him. You can put that in your CV, can't you? Directed by Edgar
Wright. And I walked past Simon Pegg and I went, "All right, mate."
Did he acknowledge it, or is he just kind of?
He in my head, where you like play out a scenario in your head. So in my head, I like walked up to him and I was like, "Hey Simon, like how you doing?" Honestly, I know I shouldn't say this, but like Shaun of the Dead's my favorite film of all time, so it's an absolute honor to be here. So thank you so much for having us. Because it was like the college had arranged, like we got casted through the college and stuff. And then what happened is I just walked past him and went, "All right, mate." My balls just went right up into my tummy, and
And I bet as you walked past, I bet he said to his mates, "I think that's that guy from YouTube." I'm sure I've watched his videos. I bet that's what he said.
I was 16 at the time. That would have been quite some premonition.
Just speaking of Edgar Wright, I do, as much as I loved it, so don't take us out. As much as I loved it, I do mourn a little bit for what could have been from the Ant-Man movie if he'd
Oh
actually
gosh,
managed to
yeah.
get, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, they used some of his scenes pretty much, you know, but yeah, it would have just been spectacular.
I think it's
Just
frustrating as well because he left that project because ultimately I think Marvel were not letting him be Edgar Wright.
yeah,
And yet we've recently got Sam Raimi be as Sam Raimi as he possibly could be, and you know,
yeah.
so
yeah.
it's like it's a shame that he did. I think if he came on board now, he'd have a lot more flexibility to do what he wanted.
Yeah. Fuzzy's making a great point there, saying it's taught him to always watch the movie commentary when it's included. Yeah, there's some great stuff on those movie commentaries. Some of them not so good, but some of them are absolute gems to watch. Just to move on, Ben, you have got this little bits and bobs here. Do you want to just mention these?
Yeah, so I just put this with the Shaun of the Dead slide because I've been fortunate enough, as I said, to obviously be on the set of Hot Fuzz, but I couldn't, you know, you can't get anything signed there. So I actually went to the premiere of oh god, mine's gone blank. The fuck my life. Help me
World's
out,
End.
Peter. World's
World's
End.
End.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I went to the premiere of the World's End, and yeah, I managed to get a photo and a signature from Nick and Edgar, and I actually had a little chat with them and spoke about Hot Fuzz and stuff. And we, you know, took the piss. And Simon was just too he was just getting swamped, and I literally just extended my arm over some girl's face and got him to sign it. So luckily, I've got the kind of
Girl's
three
face or your
signatures on
arm?
there.
What did he sign?
Both, I think.
Both.
It was he was on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was a convention a long time ago. I was cosplaying Shaun, and I met Mary, the zombie from the garden, who doesn't even act. She was great. She was like, I've literally never been in anything else before, and she was at this con. She was about like £10, you know, to get a signature from. And then I met Peter Serafinowicz, and why did I not take that mask off in the photo?
I mean, because that could be anybody. I mean, for all I know.
So that's like a Joker goon from the Arkham game series, and I just look back on that photo and regret my life decisions. But yeah, very cool to meet Peter Serafinowicz.
Awesome, very very cool. Fuzzy's just saying here, World's End didn't quite do it for me. Yeah, I agree. I've recently rewatched all three of them with my son, introduced him to them, and I think out of the three, the last one was the least
But again,
enjoyable.
I think narratively it comes down to him and Nick Frost's character not being that likable. They're not, you know. So you're not rooting for anyone as such throughout the film. So it's I think that it makes it a bit tricky. It's filmed a lot in Letchworth though, which is where my old sort of stomping ground in my old college and stuff. So it's amazing. Shaun of the Dead's my favorite film, and then I've kind of got real personal connections to both of the other films. So yeah, we need a fourth, guys.
Yeah.
Saga.
I mean, Paul kind of. I know it's not the same in terms of the saga, but I do love Paul and the alien one.
Yeah.
That's a very cool one. Yeah, sorry, Jax is jumping in there saying loves a bit of Paul as well. Grey Man saying he was great in the Tick. I loved the Ticks TV series. I love the cartoon as well. The cartoon from back in the 90s was superb. But yeah, very, very cool. Okay, Ben, next question. Claim to fame. Now, it strikes me that you're a guy that's met a lot of celebs. So tell a little bit about some of these.
Yeah, I mean, these are people that are paid to meet, so it doesn't really count.
They've paid to meet you. Is that right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
£25. No, so yeah, these are obviously, you know, since going to Comic Cons and cosplaying, pretty much every con I'll be going to meet a celeb as well. So and luckily when I lived in London, I sort of worked in retail, so I had random weekdays off, so I was able to kind of go to a couple of you know, premieres and things as well, which they're great, to meet A-listers that you just would never be able to meet at a con or anywhere else. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, these are just some of the highlights. I think Ernie Hudson was probably one of the most special ones. It was in front of an X-01. He had his flight suit on. I had all my gear on, and it felt like a really special moment. Tom Baker was quite emotional as well, because he's quite poorly now. He's getting older and stuff, and it just felt like a real special once in a lifetime sort of thing. And I haven't got it on there, but Tim Curry recently I met as well, and it was a similar thing. You knew that these are probably going to be some of their last appearances. So most expensive was Undertaker there, though.
Really? For a wrestler? Wow. Is that Healy Atwell at the bottom?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was dressed as Jarvis. It's a deep cut.
Yeah. From Agent Carter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Matt Berry is a big favourite of mine, but I've heard he's not as engaging he's not engaging in interviews, to be honest. If you watch him being interviewed, he's okay. I was trying to gently go around that, but
he's a grumpy bastard. But that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he hasn't, abused anyone or anything. It's just like he's just not like, and like he literally, I was like, Matt Barrett. I was like, oh, I'm such a huge fan. Can I have a photo? And he literally just went. So that was such an amazing night. That was the Anchorman 2 premiere, and I arrived really early because that's the trick. You got to be ready to stand there from kind of 9 a.m. in the morning, and you got all the. By the way, the worst people on earth are autograph hunters. Like, just crawl out from their probably piss drenched newspaper infested flats for the day.
Just for the clips, Ben, will piss drenched newspaper encrusted flat. Is that what we're? Yeah, it's nice.
So they're the worst. But I went in cosplay as oh god, mine's gone blank. Whammy. Honestly, this heat.
The sports guy.
Yeah.
Not Butch, is it?
Help us out, chat. We're hot.
Who you mean. I know who you mean.
Yeah, so
Brick. No, not Brick.
Not Brick. He's the stupid one. Yeah, Steve Carell's. Yeah. But anyway,
Butch.
and
Butch. I can't move on until it's in my head. Is it Butch?
Well, help us out, chat. Come on, all two of you there.
Is it? It's not Butch, is it?
No, but it's like two. It's
Brian
a surname
Fontana.
as well.
It's not Brian.
I'm ashamed of myself personally.
You should be.
I know the actor's name, David Koechner.
That's not the point.
But anyway, I went in that cosplay.
Champ
Kind.
Champ.
There you go.
Beat you.
Not
that it's a competition.
They were really miffed because I was in cosplay, right? But the moment the red carpet started, it was like all the celebs were just magnetized to me. I literally met so many people that night because of the cosplay, and David Koechner literally he gave me the biggest hug, and he absolutely loved it. And I've sold it now, but I got my Anchorman 2 mug signed by just a ton of them. But yeah, very very cool night that.
Someone in the chat is just Wealth by Night is asking, how was Alex Winter?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
remind us, Alex Winter. Who? Alex Winter.
Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah,
top right there. So it was funny because I went and I was like, oh, can we do the Bill and Ted? And he said, you look great. And I stood next to him and sort of did it. And then he was like, dude, other side, man, you got to get it the right side. So he repositioned me and we did it. So yeah, that was really cool.
Very cool, very cool. Some great memories there, Ben. And I know we've talked before, and I hope you do it at some point. You've talked about doing a bit of a video, just going through some of these photos in a bit more detail. I think that would be a great video to watch. Or a live show.
So let me know in the chat if that's something you want to see, because I've got everything kind of stored now as on the computer. So, but I'd probably have to break it up because there's 100.
You could do it as a kind of a regular thing, a monthly feature or something. But just the stories behind them are great, because a lot of people, to be fair, like myself, don't pay the money for it or don't have access to London premieres. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of good stories there, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on. Favorite YouTuber. Now, again, this can be anybody you want, and you have selected. I haven't got a clue.
So this is someone I've sort of fairly newly discovered. Actually, he's called Dave Lee Down Under. and he specializes in animation content.
Right.
So he does these incredible the history of videos, and what he'll do is he'll just do individual cartoon characters. So the history of Bugs Bunny, the history of Marvin the Martian, the history of Mickey Mouse, history of Flintstones, whoever it may be. And like I absolutely love cartoons and classic cartoons and stuff like that. So I just kind of I've just watched hours and hours of his content. He's just got a real professional kind of clean finish to his videos. His voiceover work. He's an Australian guy, but he's just got this really kind of bold, clear voice. He kind of doesn't his opinion isn't kind of inserted too much, so it's just like really good kind of journalism on the content. But I have recently enjoyed kind of listening to some of his movie reviews and things as well. I just you like the cut of people's jibs sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Remind us, Ben, what did you say this channel was called?
Dave Lee Down Under.
Dave Lee Down. We'll put the link in the video, guys, and I'll tag him on Instagram as well, just to say that he's been mentioned on the video. Yeah, sounds like an interesting one, Ben. I do like some of these. There's I can't remember what the comic tropes, who again is very similar to that. You don't get his opinion necessarily. You don't like him, naturally. You don't get his opinion, but you get the history of whatever the topic is he's talking about.
I liked comic tropes, right, for a while.
Yeah.
And then he did a video basically saying how he used to be one of those weird on this like real life superheroes, like what Kick-Ass was taking the piss out of, like he used to be one, and that's a red flag for me. Unsubscribe.
Why is it a red flag for you?
Because that's the weirdest thing you could possibly do. He's just like it was just like he did a video and he's kind of self-deprecating in it, but it was also like quite uncomfortable because I was like, well, you're probably still a bit of that person, which is
so what, he used to go around streets fighting crime? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Or it's not fighting crime, is it? It's like
cool
helping
does that sound,
drunk women out and stuff like that. But it's like,
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing a bit of that myself.
You're one bad day away from doing a lot of weird shit. Let's be honest.
That's true. That's very true. Let's get back to your collection. Let's talk about something else on here. So, talk about the top hand corner picture, Ben. What's we've got on display there?
Yeah, so it's the hardest thing in this office. It's really small, and really hot. And it's like, and the hardest thing with being a movie fan is like it's almost impossible to represent everything that you love. But I did find this great kind of. I fell into this sort of like collection of getting the number plates, and it was just a really kind of like nice way of me feeling like I'm representing a franchise or whatever it may be just through having that one number plate. From the thing. So yeah, I've got like 6 of those, and then a couple of masks. Godzilla, it's so first world problems. It's so hard being a Godzilla fan, like in terms of like room and stuff, because like there's these amazing like Godzilla X Plus figures, and they're about £400 or about £800 for one of the gigantic ones, and they just take up like an absolute ridiculous amount of space. Even the smaller figures, the tails take up so much space. Like it's such a hard kind of character to kind of display in a room that's small, especially if you've got other stuff going on, and especially because the scale never usually sort of matches up with other stuff. So yeah, I've just got the one movie poster up now, which is my favorite Godzilla film. It's the Godzilla versus Biollante.
I've not seen that one yet. Is that part of the Shin Godzillas? Is that?
No. So it's classic, classic Heisei era, and it's about flour mixed with the soul of a dead girl, mixed with the genetics of Godzilla, but like the. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds shit. I'm not gonna lie, you didn't sell it there at all.
I really think the idea is quite like one of the more interesting ones. Like Alien a lot of the alien stuff doesn't really interest me, and King Ghidorah doesn't really. But I just found it a really compelling story, and like I think it's the best monster work that they've ever done in any of the films. Like the design for Biollante is, and Biollante kind of goes through different stages, so it is just a big flower at first, and then it kind of grows like a face, and the way it moves and the way they fight, and like people nearly died filming that because there was like electrics and water and shit, and it just like, but the final product is incredible. I think still
I'll
holds
have
up.
to check that one out. I'll have to check that one out. Sounds good.
Yeah, Gojira.
And then you've got some masks there. What are the masks representing?
So you got the mask from The Mask, Casey Jones's mask from Turtles, obviously the Joker mask from the latest Joker film, and Friday the 13th. Yeah, which is, so that's from a company called Undida Masks, right? And I bought that one that's on the wall years and years ago, and I loved it, and it was really cheap. It was like £30, but it looked so good, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself to another one. And I went back to that company, and I got another one from a different film, and it was so shit. It literally looked horrendous, and like I couldn't believe it when I opened it. Like it like compared to the picture, you know, expectations versus reality, it was like one of those Wish things. And I messaged them and complained, and they kind of didn't really take to that much, really. Like they were just like, well, you know, you can send it back and have your money back or whatever. But like, so yeah, very frustrating. But at least I've kind of got Jason represented.
Yeah, and they look very cool, I have to say. And then on the door, you've got a scarf hanging up.
Yeah, so that's my 4th Doctor scarf, which I'll get it down actually. Just to give you an idea.
So pleased you've got pants on. I was concerned for a second.
So just to give you an idea of length.
I've always wondered about your length. That's nice to see. It's Christ never ending. Very nice. Very nice.
So my auntie is an amazing kind of wedding dress designer, and kind of, you know, she can do anything with clothes basically, and she was able to get hold of the original BBC knitting kind of I don't know, you know, the routine, I guess, pattern, and she replicated it. So because you can buy one for like 50 quid, but it's not half as long as that. So yeah, very, very happy with that, and I've cosplayed the 4th Doctor a couple of times. He's one of the favourites. So yeah, would you like a jelly, baby?
Excited. I'm excited for the new season. Well, I'm excited for seeing Tennant first, back in a couple of episodes, and then the new season. I'm hoping it's going to be.
I am, but we're getting Donna with it. You know, it's like you give with one hand, you take with the other.
No, I'm not having it. Donna. Not having it. I like Donna. Jumping to the chat. Werewolf by Lunchtime's found and subbed that channel you recommended, Ben, so that's great. Fuzzy's saying when this show needs a favourite non-YouTuber section. Absolutely, Fuzzy.
It's always Chris, you, Fuzzy.
That's what I've said. That's exactly what I've said. Chris is saying me, you and GP, Christ, can you imagine, should band together and be a really crap Avengers of the Northeast. Jesus. Could you imagine us hitting the town to... Yeah. I mean, I think I would look good in the light, right? We could try it.
There'd be an accusation first night.
There would. Fuzzy saying, oh, poor Chris. We'll miss Chris out. Thanks for the inclusion, Chris. Yeah, you can join as well, Chris, I'm sure.
Chris and Geordie.
He's northeast. Yeah, I think. Chris, are you?
That's a Geordie.
Yeah, he's Middlesbrough. I think I might be doing him a disservice.
Your talk fucking stupid. You know, that's
how dare you? Fuzzy, Godzilla toys are always expensive, but kind of all look the same. I can never justify the money. Yeah, there's some nice ones out there, Fuzzy. There are some. I mean, there's some shit, but there's also some very.
The SH Monster Arts ones are great, but even those, like, you know, even if one of the SH Monster Arts be Biollante, it's like 200 quid, and it's only like that big. It's like,
yeah, they're expensive. I'll have you, Belly. Just gonna move on.
My belly fall out when I stood up? Should have told.
No idea. Chris is saying Chris can be Alfred. Charming. I'm sure he'll be all that. Enormously envious of your Mario collection, Ben, and also the X-Men connecting cover piece. Yeah, superb. Greyman is saying the 4th Doctor is the best. Yeah. Chris is from Middlesbrough. Other Chris is from Stockton, so not too far.
Yeah.
Padbear sounds like a great comic. Northeast Avengers. Jesus. And ABZ, Godzilla comics can get kind of pricey too. Yeah, they can, bud. They can. Okay, Ben. Moving on to your next question. Favorite villain. We've heard a little bit about your favorite hero. Tell us about your favorite.
You didn't
super
send this
villain.
in advance.
I did. It was on the list.
Was it on the
His little
list?
face.
Shit.
His little face. We've got loads on the list, mate. Loads. We've got about 14 more questions, man. We're going to be here till midnight.
No.
You're just going to be a puddle by the end of it.
It won't go as long as Shane's visions. Don't worry. Yeah, oh man, this is harder than the hero one. I think this is really hard. So on the X-Men side, you've got Toad, obviously. You've got Juggernaut.
Is Toad a villain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a horrible little bastard, but obviously they've recently with the janitor storyline and stuff kind of introduced. Like I think that's what I love about the X-Men. Like even the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, they're kind of redeemable to an extent. It's almost like their actions are a reaction. Even Magneto ultimately. Like I love Fred Dukes, like Blob, and it's really really hard that. And then on the Spider-Man side, you've obviously got Rhino, you got Sandman, you got Kingpin.
I mean, you've not narrowed it down here. I did ask for your one favorite supervillain, didn't I? Do you know what I mean? Toad. I mean, Kingpin's crying now. You've upset. Rhino is devastated, obviously. But fair enough.
I think like Toad. For me, like Toad is Toad is the one that I relate to. Like
I see that. Yeah.
He's
hideous.
Like obviously, like physically, I resemble him a little bit with his little top belly, and like, but he like just the idea that he's this like pathetic, kind of guy who Magneto literally dresses up as a jester in those original books.
On that point, I don't know if everybody knows your Stan Lee story.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your Stan Lee story and what you are wearing to meet the legend that is Stan Lee.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough that day to have had a pre-booked signature and a photo anyway, and I was dressed as Quentin Quire when I did that. Oh, fucking Quentin Quire technically is a villain to start as well.
No, it's too late. Too late. You've moved on.
Damn it. But yeah, then I went to the talk, right? And in the talk, at the end of the talk, they were like, right, we're going to be giving away this book signed by Stan here and now, if you can answer this question. And they asked a question about, it was like, what did Stan first write on or something? And it was like, it was just a little blurb in one of the Captain America books. So I like put my hand up, and like loads of people put their hand up. And because obviously loads of people put their hand on, it's like a panel full of people. My hand was bright orange with a purple like collar, to the arm. Because I was dressed as classic, X-Men 4 Toad. And he went, yeah, you with the orange arm, and I answered it right. And I went up, and I gave Stan, I did a little, I can't believe I did this. I did a little squat, like I did a little Toad squat before. And then and I don't think he knew who I was, even though it was his character. I don't think he knew. He went, oh, you look fantastic. And he shook my hand, and we had a photo. God knows where that photo is. It was like taken by, like a proper photographer there and then, and I've never been able to find it. But yeah, very, very special moment. My heart was beating out my chest. It was
at that point Stanley decided not to do any more conventions, I believe.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm going to die now, I think.
My life is complete. This is the accumulation of all my years of work. Some bloke dressed as the Toad, crouching to kill him off in front of us.
People really appreciate that cosplay because it's not done that often. I've got a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, a guy called Matt, who shares a passion for Toad, and he did the ultimate version with the green skin and stuff.
Oh yeah,
really, really cool. I saw a guy dressed as Janitor Toad once, but yeah, like he's just this kind of pathetic character who Magneto literally dresses as a jester. and he's kind of the embodiment of a henchman in those early days. And then he kind of tries to kind of get a voice for himself. There's like a couple of storylines where he has a fight with like Frogman in a Spider-Man issue. That's a fantastic story. And he kind of tries to be more, than the pathetic little like shit he's been all of his life, and it just never goes right. And then he's the janitor, for the Wolverine, for the Jean Grey School of Higher Learning, which is the ultimate kind of like demoralizing kind of thing for his character. But then has this beautiful love story with Husk, and they just kind of give him all these layers, and he kind of has a couple of like heroic moments, and I just absolutely love that. And then they've just dropped the ball with him again since Krakoa. He was in Sabretooth's new group, but
I didn't read that one. But for such a kind of a, dare I say it, obscure character, he's done well for himself. He's been featured in, is it 2 of the X movies? I think he was in the first one. He represented in that, and then he was in the new batch, as it were, in was it Nam? He was overseas in Nam, I think.
Days of Future Past. Yeah.
So interesting character. Now I do apologize because I think I removed that question from the list I sent you because I decided to get rid of this one a while ago, because this was on the first run of kind of questions I was doing. Then I thought it's a bit creepy, so I think I removed it. Yeah, I think I removed it. I mean, it is creepy, but it is creepy. But then, I mean, you went full hog and sent us this, Ben. So
because I was saying, it's funny because I was saying to guys, I was like, I hate this question, babe. Like, I was like, it's a bit creepy. Like, I was like, and I could sit there and objectify Zendaya and Jessie J and Rosario Dawson, my crushes. But it would feel weird, like it's like me sat here just going, Zendaya.
That's why I removed it.
So I thought, right, well, I'll talk openly. It's an open discussion. We're all friends here about my fetish, which is Twi'leks. So here we are.
Okay, so those of us that have kissed a girl, what's a Twi'lek? Tell me what a Twi'lek is.
You've only kissed one girl. Shut your face. So a Twi'lek is a species in Star Wars, and they have these Leku, big kind of phallic things on the back of their head, and they're usually like that's a lie because Bib Fortuna put on a bit of a timber, but they're usually depicted as quite attractive individuals. Just imagine being in this sandwich.
I mean, it's interesting that you could have sent, one of the many female Twi'lek images, but you've chosen to send this one with the 2 of them on. Is that
I wanted to represent both elements of my personality. I've become more and more open and fluid, I think, with myself as the years have gone by. And luckily, I'm very secure in my marriage. But,
I remember seeing this. Was it Born Boba Fett? I can't remember which show this was. I remember seeing this, and I think in our group chat, we immediately all thought, "Oh, Jesus, Ben's going to be literally all over this."
I had to take a shower.
I mean, I have to say, at Star Wars Celebration, there was some very impressive makeup and things. So interesting.
I like brightly coloured skin as well, like Gamora and like She-Hulk. Maybe it's a green skin thing. I don't know, because ultimately this stems from seeing Ula, in Jabba's palace when I was a young boy.
Yeah.
That's where it started, So maybe it's a green skin thing. I don't know. Who knew?
I dare say, Jack. I'm not going to explore that.
Put it this way: I delete my cookies and history immediately after.
Good stuff. Okay, so let's go back to your collection.
So freaking hot. That's made me sweat even more looking at those 2.
It is a little bit warm. It's toasty where I am as well. Let's have a little look see at this. So your bottom corner now is your Marios and some of your figures. Talk about those.
Yeah, so the Mario thing's kind of dead random, really, and just kind of like evolved out of nowhere. Like, I think I just kind of found the 9-inch Banpresto Mario and Luigi figures for like a tenner, and I was like, why not? Dorothy can play with them or whatever. And then I kind of found more and found that there was a range, and then I was like, stumbled across that Tato Bowser there at the top, which was kind of in scale, with the larger figures, and I was like, I can do this. And then I So the blocks are literally just, I went to Snapfish or Vistaprint or one of the printing sites, and I just uploaded an image from the internet of one of the blocks or whatever, and put it on a canvas, and it came out really good. It's kind of got like a 3D but 2D kind of thing going on. And I'm just really chuffed with how it looks. And the top of the modu case, so I ordered a topper for that modu case, and Modurspace has just messed me about, to be honest. Like,
so for those that don't know, Ben, what's a modu case?
So that's the big case you see there.
Yeah, and they've got to be
the
purpose built, haven't they?
Yeah, so they come, they're bespoke built, basically. So they kind of come as you get all the corners and the stuff, and you have to connect it all together, and then you put on the acrylic kind of sheets, and then there's lighting and stuff like that. And they are not cheap. I actually won these two. I definitely would not be able to have them if I didn't win it. But I wanted the topper, and I was willing to sort of pay for that. And yeah, they messed me about, and I kind of just got to the point where I was like, oh, do you know what? I got this idea to kind of get some like Astro kind of green turf, which I have put in the bottom of these decals as well, to kind of create these like dioramas. And I'm just really, really pleased with how it looks. And I bought the piranha plant the other day as well. And yeah, I'm just chuffed with how it's come out.
It looks fantastic. I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic. And then underneath that, you've got your Star Wars hot toys.
Yeah, so underneath that is everything you see behind me. So that's basically my 1/6 scale collection. So I've got Star Wars in the modu cases, and then the detolfs are kind of the best of the rest. So Starship Troopers, Power Rangers, Sandman, Indy, and then I got my Spider-Verse display, Rorschach from Watchmen, Suicide Squad, and Gillman at the bottom there as well.
Is that a Mondo, the Gillman?
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. But I think much like myself, Ben, anybody that collects action figures, 1/6 scale stuff, and all the rest of it will become challenged by space. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's space, and it's also I mentioned it earlier about feeling like you can't represent everything that you love in your room. And the 1/6 scale collection, weekly, I think I have a moment in my head where I'm like, I just want to sell it all, because it almost feels impossible to get everything. I don't think I'd sell it all. I think if I did anything, I'd sell everything but Star Wars, and just like hone in on Star Wars or whatever, because it's kind of the best of the rest figures that are the ones that I can't find the space for, because I really love this cleaner look of just having 1 or 2 figures on one shelf. The moment you start to have more in there, it starts to not look as good. I've got the Shaun of the Dead figure from Yan Toys coming at the end of the year, and I literally I want to give him a shelf, but I don't know what shelf or how I'm going to do that yet. I got Kingpin coming, and Kingpin's going to go next to Sandman, but then it's like, at what point do I stop? I'd kind of like a villains of favorite villains of Spider-Man, but then, and also as well, the frustrating thing with 1/6 scale figures, especially for someone like me who loves the characters that not many people love, I'm never going to get a Ray Park Toad, but can you imagine a Ray Park Toad? I'm never going to get a Rhino, from ASM in his Adidas tracksuit, but I'd absolutely love that figure.
Interesting to see if we get anything from the Craven film. I mean, we'll have to see what that version of Rhino looks like. Do you know what I mean?
I don't like it's. I really like, and I did have a couple of figures from films that I didn't love, but I was like, oh no, I like the outfit or whatever. And whenever I had them, that passion would start to kind of wear off. But like, I can genuinely hand on heart say now that if the Starship Troopers and the Indy have like a real emotional connection for me, because they're like remembrance pieces for my grandpa. But like everything else is like pure either nostalgia or like one of my favorite films of all time, like Spider-Verse or Suicide Squad. So.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, Ben. So if we were to ask you what your perfect day is, a day that ticks all of your boxes, what would that be? You sent us a little slide.
Just thought I'd do a little homage there.
I mean, that is a bra. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wake up. Not at 11 a.m. like bloody James said. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so wake up, you know, have a nice hearty breakfast, black pudding in a bap or something.
Oh, just black pudding in a bap.
You know, bit bacon and sausage and egg, and
it's a good bap.
It's a good bap. And yeah, and wash that down with a nice Monster, just to get me going for the day. And then like have a Hot Toys arrive. You know, have the postman arrive at like 9 a.m. with a hot toy, like ready to go. And my wife and my baby are like out, you know, so oh no, shit, I can't really say that. If
that sounds, we'll delete that. We'll delete that part. Yeah.
I might retcon that.
My perfect day is when my wife and child are out. That yeah.
No, because just for a bit, you know, they're there in the morning, like just to give me time to like open the figure, and like I'm not working, so I can like get the figure out, take some immediate photography, videos, you know, and then pop them in the cabinet and stare at it for an hour. You know, watch one of my favorite films. Actually, no. So at this point, I might cash in the bras to represent. I'm a pervert, so like Perfect Day, and it might not be now because, you know, stamina's not what it once was, but like Perfect Day back in the day would have had some sexy time at some point during that 24 hours.
Some nippy.
But I said my wife's out now, so this is the part where I probably need to retcon.
So alone time, nippy.
Wasn't Day is around? I don't know, but Twi'lek, dressed as a Twi'lek. Yeah. Oh fuck. So yeah. And then have some chicken. And not just any chicken. Some Lewisham favourite chicken. So this is favourite chicken in Lewisham, southeast London, which is where I resided for a year, and I didn't get stabbed, which is a miracle.
Good.
And Lewisham favourite chicken, I used to go in, they used to go, hello, wingman. They used to call me wingman because they knew I liked my wings. How many today? 4? 12? So I'd get 12's a lot.
12.
There were some bad days. So yeah, best chicken wings I've ever had in my life. And they're absolutely incredible. And then wash that down with some
we'll drop a link in the description, and they're Just Eat description, so they can go and pick those up.
I think it's changed names a few times now, because I found it really hard to find this image because it's changed names. I was like, but it needs to be favorite chicken because that means that my guy is in there. My guy. Wash that down with some Cloudberry Copperberg, which I've only ever had once. It was with like an ex, and we were having like a weekend away thing. And I got Cloudberry Copperberg, and honestly, it was the best thing about the weekend. Needless to say, it didn't work out. But yeah, so some Cloudberry Copperberg, and then kind of comatose.
What's a Cloudberry? I don't think I've ever had.
I don't even know.
What's a Cloudberry?
Don't know, but it tastes like heaven.
Clouds
in and around my mouth. And then in a kind of, you know, with all that chicken and Copperberg and Monster and black pudding swirling about my belly, just sat there, and I can watch a film. So Return of the Jedi or an Indiana Jones film or like X-Men 2, you know, whatever. Shaun of the Dead. Good times.
I mean, it sounds to me like the perfect day. I think that sounds...
It's the perfect day.
Incredible.
And then have a heart attack in my sleep.
Yeah, so I would imagine you're going to spend some time on the toilet that night.
And that's the perfect day because I'll never have to live another day ever again because of the heart attack.
I mean, you've started a lot of, ooh, look at this. I'm drinking one right now. Jack.
Cloud. I thought it was discontinued.
Jack, have a look on the back and tell me what a Cloudberry is.
Is it Cloudberry? I thought it was discontinued. Genuinely, this was 7 years ago that I had this, and I've never seen one since. Shut up,
Fantastic.
Jack.
Tell me where you got
Oh,
it, Jack.
gosh.
Dead Man used to go to Favourite Chicken in New Malden. Thought it was one-off place, not a company.
There you go.
Chicken Wars. So that was your perfect day, Ben.
Imagining thousands of chickens fighting each other like little Nazi chickens, and like,
Fuzzy saying so far you've got rid of the missus, hinted at masturbation. This is the bit I'm going to clip, obviously, for the short. Interestingly, when we went to start, I don't know why it's interesting. It's not really interesting. When we went to Celebration, where did I stay when we went to Celebration? What part of London was that?
That was South East London, around there. Yeah, because that's the DLR. I used to get the DLR to work to like Westfield.
So there was a very dodgy chicken place opposite mine and James T. Keegan's hotel, and we went there late one night, and I think we got something like 15 bits of chicken for £1.20 or something obscene like that. But yeah, it was good chicken.
It's the best.
This is what we should do, a live show about chicken, shouldn't we? Anyway, so that was your perfect day, Ben. Now I want to know what winds you up. What's your tipping point? What really pisses you off?
I mean, I didn't send you any slides or anything for this because
It
where do I
fit on the
start?
slide. What irritates
you? Communities. YouTubers. No, I don't. I could sit here and bitch all day. I could, and I probably will when we finish the live. But I don't know. Tories. It's a hard thing. Like I did say earlier in the show, like my patience is really thin. Like the older I've got, and it's like it's terrible. But like when you were younger and you were like your dad was impatient or whatever, and like older people were kind of, and you'd like you didn't get it. You were like, just chill, like. But I get it now, and my tether's a lot shorter and stuff, and I'm a lot more sensitive to kind of political kind of views and things like that, and like I'm a lot more kind of frustrated by films or whatever it may be, and like personalities. I find it harder to kind of deal with, now that I'm kind of a bit older, and like it's life's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Cheerful, yeah. I mean, one of the things.
Psychiatrist appointment was actually Friday, or is it now? I don't know.
One of the things that I've found recently, and it kind of goes back to the point there about the older you get, I think, as you know, me and you both love movies, and I used to like nothing more than going to the cinema. And it was I've got a few good mates up here that every other Friday was like cinema and meal night. So even though we've drifted apart in terms of seeing each other regularly, every couple of weeks we'll go to the cinema and we'll have something to eat and all that kind of jazz. But I'm finding I'm more and more intolerant in the cinema of noise, of people talking, of people eating in the vicinity of us, that kind of stuff. It's just not an enjoyable experience anymore. And I don't know if that's just I'm getting old or what.
Can't really say anything about
well, I'm eating myself, but still I get irritated by other people making noise. Do you know what I mean? It just
But no, I'm completely with you and James on this. I know it got a bit spicy with the chat the other day with James, but like like it's just the ultimate disrespect. You all know that you've paid money, to enjoy shutting off from the world for an hour and a half, like the 1 hour and a half in a week, month, maybe months for some people to put their phone down and immerse themselves in fantasy or a story. And, for people to kind of not respect that and not respect the other people in the room, like it honestly, for me, it fucking symbolizes like humanity, what humanity is. And what is wrong with humanity. It's like it kind of like epitomizes that just in a cinema, but that is how the world is everywhere. Nobody respects anyone, and they're all rude pieces of. No, can I? I've got one now because this is fresh for me.
You've got one.
Pushing in.
You've got one. Go on then. What?
Pushing in queues at like Disney and shit.
And you've
so I nearly got in 3 fights. Three fights I got in
in
at
Disney. In Disney, the land of dreams, and you got into 3
Well,
fights.
actually, one was customs. One was like I could have got genuinely. I could have got arrested in French border control because there was like a massive like clog up at border control, right? And there was queues and like the staff were kind of doing this weird thing where they were kind of like pseudo letting people through, and then they were going to let us through because we had a kid, but then they wouldn't let through. Like we had Grace's parents with us. They were like, "Oh no, just the parents," and we were like, "Well, we're all with each other, so can't you know?" And like this like French businessman dude basically like tried like just literally cut like and I went, "What are you doing?" And he just was like really French back to me, and
Really French back to you.
it escalated pretty quickly. But like I was looking around and people were like silently cheering me on. They were like, "Yeah, you tell him." Like I could see it, you know, like all the people. They were like, "Yeah," but like no one says anything. I was like the only one, and then I'm the one who looks like a monster, you know, for starting something. And Grace is very patient, put it that way. Well, I just like and yeah, there was like a couple of times in Disney. I was like, this one dude. I was like, "Sorry, are you meeting someone? Is someone in the queue?" And he was like, "No." I didn't. When what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Because he was just like so blatantly like pushing in. Like I just couldn't believe it. Yeah, shocking.
I found it. I mean, we did Disney last year, I think it was, and I did. I mean, I'm, as you know, I'm polite to a T, so I didn't challenge anybody, but it was quite clear when people were pushing through the lanes and all the rest of it. And sometimes you've been standing in those queues for an hour and a half, so it is quite irritating.
But again, it's the same thing. We're all in the same situation. We're all going through the same struggle. So what makes you superior to be able to like? And this guy at border control, he was like the only fucker in the suit there. I was like, "Oh, you think Mr. Businessman, you know, corporate, you know, Colin or whatever your name is, like that you can just write off."
I tell you what I found worse, but being the kind of person I am, is when we went to Universal and we stayed a night at the Hard Rock Hotel. And if you stay at the Hard Rock for Universal, they give you fast passes for the places. So I found it worse walking past the queues of people who've been standing there for an hour and feeling every one of their eyes kind of boring into my soul because I'm walking straight past them to get on the ride.
But with that, that's you. That's something that you've got that they haven't got. It's not. It's not. You know, it's not your fault. Like you've got it, and those are the rules. Like as long as you're, because we got a Grace's mum had like a disability pass. So we basically went in the priority queue for all the rides and stuff. And it was honestly like an absolute game changer. Probably couldn't have done the holiday without it. No, Fuzzy, I do not cheer that. I do not condone that behaviour from Efren. I've actually had conversations with Peter. I'm like, it's shocking. I would have knocked him out. You can't knock out Efren, can you?
You got Efren's too much of a gent, and I'm sure he's never been attacked. So yeah. Anyway, moving on, because me and Ben are sweating to bits here, and we're getting on a little bit.
Made me angry.
Yeah. Ben, we often ask the great British public and anybody else on Instagram that follows us some questions for our guests. So as ever, they've not disappointed. I've narrowed it down to a few which I find interesting, and as ever, we'll end on the great Fuzzy, because he always gives you an interesting question. So first question comes from Wayne. What's the most rewarding cosplay you've ever done?
Oh wow. Let me just have a look at my little cosplay picture, because I do forget, and then I'm like, oh no, that one. I think.
Can I tell you one of my favorites? And it's because the cosplay is very, very good, because you really commit to it. But I also just love the video itself, and I don't know if it's still on your channel, but it's the one where you meet a group of nerds at a convention, and you're dressed as Magneto, and you do the Harlem Shake.
Yeah, that's on there.
Yeah, I like that one. That one's very good, and it's a full-on Magneto costume.
Yeah, I went for it. Yeah. So I think like there's been a couple of costumes where like kids coming up to you and asking for photos and stuff like that. I think that's always really special because you've really kind of obviously captured their imagination, and they've sort of seen the character in you that you're trying to do, and that's always a really special moment. And so, you know, a couple of those, I think in terms of kind of the way it made me feel, like completely feeling like I became the character, like a completely kind of transformative experience, was probably the first time I went full Ghostbuster. Was like, it was just like I was just like, man, if I could show 12-year-old me this, you know, they wouldn't believe it. And also when I went as Freddy and I had the silicon
your mask was superb,
mask,
wasn't it?
it was just unreal. Like putting that on, it just felt like it just didn't feel real when I was looking at myself in the mirror. So those were probably some pretty rewarding moments. But honestly, like moments where like, so I did like Carmen Falcone once, right?
Yeah.
So obscure. I was just a dude in a tuxedo, and then I did the Catwoman scratches.
Yeah.
Like the most obscure kind of cosplay, and like one person got who I was, but that one person, it like made their day. They were like, dude, are you Carmen Falcone? Like that is amazing. Like, and I love that because I'm often like that, like, you know, Janitor Toad or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, Janitor Toad, like, you know, like. So
I guess with cosplay, and I might be wrong, you're the expert, but there are easy cosplays to do, or easy characters, shall we say, to do that you see a lot of at a convention. Do you know what I mean? Where lots of people go as the same character. So seeing some of those more creative ones or kind of more obscure characters is quite exciting, I guess.
Yeah, and I think when I was younger, I was a lot more willing to do that, and I didn't really care what I looked like, you know, with Lycra and stuff like that. I think as I've got older, it's probably more about accuracy now for me. It's almost like, well, I won't do it if I can't do it to a certain standard. So I've kind of, my standards have kind of gone up in that sense, and you know, I'm trying to look for characters that I actually look like as well. And unfortunately, you know, fat bald guy, Kingpin's done. I'm not left with many other options, but yeah, like the Ghostbuster stuff is like really special. I think I would really love to spend a couple of years and properly get like an X-Wing pilot outfit going. Cool. I've got a helmet, so, but again, it's just like it takes time and it's a lot of money if you want to do cosplay to a certain standard. A lot of money.
Yeah, very cool. Next question comes from Dr. Von Hoot, and it's 3 questions really. Your first concert, worst concert, and your best concert.
Nice. He asked this on the TM Nerdy Roscoe shows as well, I think. I don't know if it was my first concert, but it was certainly the first concert I remember, and that was Green Day at Milton Keynes Bowl.
Wow. Yeah.
It was one, and still one of the best days of my life. It was almost like a coming of age day as well. Like, it was just such a great day. It was just like, it was really sunny, and I had like one of my first like proper girlfriends at the time. Like, I'm like a fucking loser, right? So like it felt special, you know, and I had like some friends that were like felt as passionately as I did about Green Day. And when the gig started, like the support acts played and stuff, it was almost like a festival, you know. But when Green Day came on, I separated from my friends, and I just like moshed out with these, like this one fat dude with his top off, and these, like, I think they were like twins. It was very weird. And it was just like a real random sort of pocket of people, and we just danced, and like I was so close to the stage, like, and yeah, just a real defining moment. So that was my first concert. But I used to go to a place called Club 85 a lot before that, which was like fuzzy. Don't deny the past. Do you know what I mean? I got about. But yeah, like I used to go to a place called Club 85 a lot, and there's a band called Enter Shikari, who are like quite big now, but they used to play there before they were big, and it was like a rock place. I used to go there like every weekend, basically. I used to be a little kind of you know, a little punk rocker when I was sort of 16 or whatever. That was how we spent our Saturday nights. And then what was the worst concert?
Worst.
See, you think I'd say the Saturdays, but I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I went to Status Quo, right? As a
I didn't see you.
This is cool. Well, no. So this is probably my first concert. I was about 6 years old, right? And my uncle took me to a Status Quo concert, right? I cried because it was too
It
loud.
was that good. It was that moving.
So
It
that's
was,
my worst concert because I didn't even see it. And it was Status Quo. They probably weren't even playing loud. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then best concert, is that the other one?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Green Day are up there. I saw Kaiser Chiefs at Brixton Academy,
good.
like
Yeah.
that, like first album Kaiser Chiefs. You know, I Predict
Yeah.
a Riot, and Ricky Wilson would like crowd surf and stuff.
Yeah.
That was an incredible night. Kiss were amazing in recent years. I went to see Kiss.
Yeah.
Saw Kiss about 3 years ago. And then just in terms of like value for money,
Yeah.
like I just felt like it was a real show. You know, like it almost felt like going to see a theatre show or something. It was there was that much spectacle and everything. So that was amazing. Yeah, Kiss.
Very cool.
Kiss.
Very cool. I saw with my mother Barry Manilow. And at Whitley Bay Ice Rink when I was younger, I had the pleasure of witnessing Vanilla Ice. Ice Baby. Indeed, it was.
Did he sing the Turtles song?
He did. Yeah. Utter shit. Next from the man, the myth, the legend, Fuzzy of the Dunlop. If Batman is fillet steak, who in the superhero world is the equivalent for spam? Hashtag spam.
Superman, isn't it?
Oh, Ben, man.
Just like flavorless, tinned, just like get it out when you really need something.
What scares you most is there was no frigging hesitation at all there, was there?
He put it on a plate for me.
Why do you hate Superman so much? What is wrong with you?
Just summed it up, haven't I? Spam.
Moving on. Disgusting. Just quickly jump into the comments. You left your girlfriend with friends to mosh with strange men. I think
not wrong.
Kiss are an experience. I'm not even a Kiss fan. Yeah, I think I would like to see them. I've seen Mudvayne. I don't know who that is. Kiss, Aerosmith would be incredible. I'd love to see Aerosmith.
Yeah, I'd like to see Aerosmith.
Yeah, I bet they're phenomenal. 3-band event. Wow. Absolute rock star. Absolutely made. I've seen the best of the best. I think it's
actually no. I'm gutted because I was supposed to see My Chemical Romance about a year ago, and I know it's personal, but I had a pretty extreme mental episode and panic attack, and I'm getting emotional saying it, but like I wasn't able to go, and like I'm absolutely I'm still gutted, you know, that I ruined it for myself. But here's the consolation. I booked my first ever concert. This is going to be in a few months' time. I'm going to see Daddy Freya from Eurovision fame, Peter.
I mean, you can see the expression.
Google Daddy Freya, as in Freyr. It's like a weird.
It's not that strange German band, is it?
He's got long hair and he wears like so in the original Eurovision thing, they wore like a turquoise jumper with his face on, like a pixelated. Honestly, it's kind of like, it's almost like disco, like kind of like indie disco sort of music, but he's like really like funny. Like the music videos and that are like really funny, and I'm a massive fan.
Which country is he from? Where's he?
Finland. I want to say Finland. Yeah. They entered twice because of the COVID situation and stuff, and then he appeared this year, and when people from past Eurovisions were covering famous songs from Liverpool artists, and he covered Atomic Kitten Whole Again, and it's one of the greatest 5 minutes of television I think I've ever seen. Daddy Freya.
Okay. Welf is saying Superman is a steak, Batman's the spam. Oof, controversial. Jack, I agree, Ben. Superman is too OP for me. Yeah, I get that. Got to be honest, I expected more thought. Straight there, Fuzzy. He was straight there, mate. Straight there. Dead Man saw Slade. Wow, Slade.
Oh,
Bet that was,
Slade.
bet that was
Wicked.
impressive. Yeah. I always loved, oh God. I don't know which show it was on. It might have been Smeller, Reeves and Mortimer. When they did the kind of the Slade, when they went camping and things like that. Did you ever see that?
God,
Where they
that's
did Noddy
before my
Holder
time,
and all the
but-
rest of it at like barbecues and things. It's absolutely superb. Fuzzy, can I just say in all seriousness, I'm glad you're back, Ben. I appreciate your friendship and always enjoy our conversations. I appreciate you, pal.
That's
Very
very
nicely said,
kind.
mate. Very nicely said.
Can you say something horrible to me, or because it's going to make me emotional?
Daddy Freya with a smorgasbord of excess coming up. Jesus, Daddy Freya. Okay, moving on. This is an interesting one, Ben. What advice would you give to people? And it can be anything you want. It doesn't have to be YouTube related. It can be life advice, anything that you may desire.
Don't do YouTube. I I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I'm not like as arrogant or confident as my persona maybe comes across. I think to people that maybe don't know me, like I'm not someone that would feel like I'm ever able to give anyone advice on anything, because like we all experience this world in like a completely different way. Like we all have our own sense of reality, and like I guess the one thing I would say, taken from a recent, horrendous film, Ant-Man Quantumania, but a very important message was conveyed in that film. In the immortal words of Cassie Lang, don't be a dick.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really, honestly, I don't, it feels weird to say to someone like, oh, like, yeah, just be open and honest with people as much as you possibly can,
I think,
yeah.
to be fair, Ben, don't be a dick is good advice for anybody, because there are a lot of dicks out there. So yeah, don't be a dick. I'll go with that. And Chris is just seconding what Fuzzy said. Ben's a legend and should be seen by the world. Absolutely. Chris is saying, I think your fragility is part of your charm, Ben. You're honest and authentic. Absolutely. Absolutely,
Thanks,
mate.
guys. Bloody hell.
Okay,
This
Ben.
got deeper
So
than I thought. I'm there talking about Lewisham favourite chicken, and then it's escalated.
So on that note, Ben, you are just fresh back. We've talked about that at the start. What have you got planned a little bit for your channel? Have you got anything in mind? What might be coming up?
So, as soon as this new Hasbro Magneto helmet comes, which I'm not really sure when it's coming, to be honest, because when I pre-ordered, I think it was due in July, but I think that might now be September. I'm not sure. But when that comes, I am going to do a comprehensive collection tour 2023. So the last one I did was last year. So it's going to be a brand new one, and I'm going to talk in detail about all of the pieces I've got in my room. Other than that, I'm not sort of planning anything immediate, to be honest. I don't know. My personality is like so. You know what? I mean, Peter finds it bloody exhausting to be a friend of mine, because I change like British weather. I really do. So I might wake up tomorrow and go, right, I want to do a video on this. But at the moment, no kind of immediate plans. I am going to do some Halloween content, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
So whether those be, I think what I'm thinking of maybe doing is doing live shows. But each one has a theme. So might talk about Final Girls one week, and then the next week I might talk about monsters, and the next week talk about slashers and kind of theme it, and just have a general kind of chinwag about that, and just an open invite for horror fans to come in the chat and enjoy. So yeah, that will probably be coming up in September, I guess. Yeah. I'll probably do sort of 6 weeks running up to Halloween for that. So
good stuff. Good stuff. Look forward to that. Okie dokie, Ben. So you'll be happy to know that that's the end of the questions. We can relax a little bit and hopefully cool down a little bit. We're coming to the end of the show, guys. Just to quickly jump into the chat. Jack, don't ever leave, Ben. You're a legend on your own channel, and on this channel, you make the lives better. Very true, Jack. Don't make plans. It should be fun. Just do it when you feel like it. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Fuzzy. That's wise words, mate. Wise
Yeah.
words. If you're not enjoying it, don't do it.
Says
So,
Peter with a schedule till 2025.
yeah. But I'm very different to you. I
You are,
do
and I think,
genuinely enjoy it. You know.
yeah, you are, and I think we as friends have had to kind of navigate that like a bit.
Yeah.
You know, the different relationship that we have with YouTube, because you enjoy a lot of elements that I don't, and you know, I enjoy elements that you might not as much. So, yeah, like it's such an interesting beast, YouTube, because everyone's like that, and everyone's different with what they want out of it and what they enjoy and don't.
Yeah.
So, and you know, you and I are kind of, I mean, not really, but we've got one foot in the 1/6 scale community as well as the comic book community.
Yeah.
I say 1 foot, maybe
Yeah.
1 toe
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean, though? So we've kind of and those personalities are even more different than
Yeah.
comic book
Yeah.
people. You know,
Yeah.
so it's been quite an interesting social kind of experience, you know, over the last few years doing YouTube as well, to be honest. But you know, I'm thankful because you know, whilst I could probably list on one hand, but you know, like I have met people like yourself who are incredibly important to me in my life now. So yeah.
Good stuff. Good
But
stuff.
I'm not saying anything nice ever again.
Well, I would expect nothing else. Yeah.
Just shut your stupid ginger face.
Okay, guys. So that's the end of the show. Can I just give a massive thank you to Ben for joining? I'm not going to get all soppy because I will fill up, but just to say, it is very, very good to see you back, Ben. Completely support you needing to take time and all the rest of it, and I hope you continue to do that as needed. But I, for one, I'm very pleased to have you back, and I hope you see in the chat that everybody else feels the same.
Yeah, thank you,
because we
everybody.
love having you around. So thank you very much to the chat. You've been fantastic as ever. I really do appreciate you all jumping in and stopping by. Just to remind you, we have got this show on Monday with some of the guys talking toys, 1/6 scale action figures, video games, and all the like. So please do jump in on that. Just, if nothing else, just to see what utter shit Simon talks about. Because that's always a laugh, just to watch what he's kind of.
It'll be like, right, here's the latest Star Wars news, and then the news fresh from 2022.
Yeah. We're not even going to get that, mate. We're not even going to get. He's messaged us already and told us that there is no Star Wars news.
He's lying.
Happened
There's love.
Since. So yeah, so we'll see what happens.
I'll do his slides for him if it needs to get to that point.
Yeah. I mean, James was straight there asking if he could have his slides for the game section, because I've told them they're only allowed 5 slides each. But yeah, so join in, that'll be fun as ever. And then the week after that, we've got the spotlight on Transformers, as I mentioned. That is your whack. Just before we go, quickly jump into the chat. Jack is saying, if you never leave, Ben, I'll send you my Kit Fisto lightsaber.
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
Yeah, very cool. It's a real struggle keeping motivated, absolutely, I feel, but it's a great community and definitely worthwhile. Yeah. Thank you for that, Chris. Deadman, great show. Thank you very much, bud. Nice to see you, Gray. Hope you are well, my friend. Chris, thanks, lads. Great show. And Fuzzy, bye-bye, chaps.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, and we will catch you next time. So take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.